Miss Emily, what's going on? It's Tim here with my mom, Don, Campbell. Don. Her real friends just call her Don. My final's going to be about the Louvre in Paris. Kind of go over like an introduction, a little bit of history, some controversy, a little bit of influence, and then just kind of I'm going to ask her what she thinks about it and how much, because apparently she loves it from what I hear. So I'm gonna try to get her opinion on some of that here at the end. Definitely not a historian expert, so don't expect anything too crazy. So the introduction. So the Louvre was actually it was first made as a fort for protection for France against England, because they had a lot of controversy between the two. France was never a big fan of England at all. It is over 800 years old, and the pyramid on the inside was put in 1682, so still several hundred years old. But between that time, you would have kings, emperors, whoever was in charge at the time, they would live there, and that would be kind of like their castle-ish, like their place. I don't know what you call it. And what is it? Protection against England. Yeah, it was so the original idea was Philip Augustus. It was kind of his plan, his idea. 300 years after Francis, he was the last one to live there. He was also the last one to redesign it and bring in the pyramid that we know today, that is inside of the Louvre in 1682. Also in 1793, it became a museum officially. It already had a bunch of art in there. It already had all kinds of relics and stuff from different countries, different regions where they fought and looted their enemies and stuff like that. So it was already kind of heading in that direction. Like, I don't think they were intentionally doing that, but it was already kind of heading there. So by that point in 1793, they have all this artwork there. Kings no longer reside there. It's more of a collection, I guess, at that point, and gets turned into a museum, and now it's a big deal, but not so much a big deal, because even when it was becoming officially a museum, there was a lot of people who didn't want it to have anything to do with France, because it was so modern, it was new, it was different. It was like literally the pinnacle of what modernism looked like back then. I mean, you have all these old buildings and old artworks and statues, and all of a sudden you have this glass pyramid that's holding all this artwork inside. Like, that's crazy. That's insane to them. That had to be mind-boggling that they would want to do that. Like, kind of destroying the whole reputation of France being artsy and cool and having all this history, just to add something that could possibly be a failure. It was up in the air for sure. One of the biggest things that I think the Louvre was known for was when it had art stolen from it. Not just any art, but the Mona Lisa. And that was in 1911. The dude actually worked there, and he got away with it for a few years until he went and tried to sell the Mona Lisa on the black market. And then, got caught and sent to jail and all that good stuff. The designer actually got a lot of his inspiration from the pyramids too, so that's kind of cool. So before it started influencing us on how to accept and embrace change in culture, it was already kind of doing that same thing. It was taking somebody else's culture and implicating it to another country, which is also kind of, back then everybody was about their country, everybody was about, from here, and it's kind of a big deal where you're from, who you are, what race you are at the time. And them doing that, taking influence from another culture, another race, was also kind of just like a big shocker, and another reason it was controversial. 23. It's not currently within the last few years. It's not as big. COVID happened and it's lost a lot of its profits, and for that place, it's projected profits because it's projected at around $10 million a year, and the fact that it was closed for almost a year and the visitations have been low has kind of been a big hindrance on it here lately, which is the first time it's been closed since World War II. And that's kind of a big deal in and of itself, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to be gone anytime soon. It's such a big part of them and who they are as a culture and as a country. It really says a lot about their acceptance, and they're willing to embrace other ideas and things like that. And I think that idea in and of itself is influential to life and people today, whether even people know it or not. Being open-minded and being able to accept other people's styles and the way they do things is kind of a big deal. It's kind of something that we are constantly getting better at. Definitely not perfect. And today, I think you still see that effect that the Louvre had back then, still kind of affecting people today, just in a different way. Whether it be somebody's race, culture, religion, whatever it is. And I think that's pretty cool, in my opinion. And I don't know of any music that it's influenced, but I think there are some poems, and I'll try to attach those here at the end of the video to a different file and show you some of the poems that it's actually influenced. But today, I really wish I knew more about it than we do, but honestly, there's I cut this part out. I don't know where to go now.
It'd be in movies, maybe?
Yeah.
And in videos?
Yeah, it's been in a lot of movies and videos. It's been in a lot of movies and videos. It's been, Tom Cruise movies and random things. It's definitely still, important and pretty, and I think what he originally designed it for, to be a museum, and I think he'd be surprised at how good it's still doing today, even though they recently closed down. They still made good money, and they were still pretty decent. It'll probably be around for a lot longer than that. My mom is actually a fan of it. It was kind of her idea to talk about it, and this was her video idea in some sense. I just asked her what she thought was influential and what was a good piece of artwork to discuss and talk about, and she picked the Louvre. So why did you pick the Louvre? What about it were you excited to?
I liked the Louvre because I heard about it in my art class in college, and it just kind of garnered my attention because everything that the original king had tore it down when it was built to be a fort for protection is all still underground under the Louvre.
Right, yeah.
And you can walk through there, and once in a blue moon they'll give tourists a chance to go down there and look at some of the stuff left. Like when you were watching on your video, it has like little hearts or drawings from the people that created the bricks to build the original thing.
So that way they can go back and be like, these are my bricks, I need my money for it.
Yeah. So there's that, and I like how the glass pyramid was incorporated in there, even though it was really controversial. I like how they blend now. At first, nobody was a fan of it, but now you can't really picture, this generation can't really picture one without the other, and they're cohesive now. And all the history that the Louvre has, all the different kings, all their pilfering is all artwork now, whereas before it was collateral damage. Now it's what is there to be looked at, and people to admire the skill of the painters and all the artisans and how they created things. And all those art pieces are in a piece of art now because each king built his own little section of the Louvre. It used to be just one nice little castle, and now it's almost a perfect square because of what each king has built. And so there's a lot of history there. It'd probably take 2 weeks to go through it and just really admire and learn about it. And I've always wanted to go there just so I could have a private tour guide take me around and teach me about all the different art pieces at my own leisure instead of rushing through with all the other people.
What did that guy say? 10 seconds for every piece of art, 3.5 days straight.
Yep. And
Just to be
that's
able to
just
see
rushing.
everything. Yeah.
But there's so much history there. Like when the Queen took over France for a little while, there is 24 tapestries in there that lead up to her. The last one is her coronation. And she's the only woman to ever rule France back then. So I would really like to see all 24 of those tapestries and have a tour guide tell me all about each one.
Oh, that'd definitely be nice. Just, man. the stuff you see there, I mean, 460,000 different objects there. The oldest one going back 9,000 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just crazy cool. And just the statement they made when they put that in there and stuck with it, and how it's now just a part of France and not even a big deal. Controversy, like, what is that? What? No.
Yeah, 460,000 pieces are housed there, and only 380,000 are shown. So I want to know what the rest of them are. I want to see those too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, all right. That's all I got for you, Miss Boyle. Hopefully that's good enough, and I'll see you next semester. Peace.